All right. So last week, so 2 weeks ago, obviously we had the retreat. And so last week we talked a lot about it. Monday, I kind of opened it up to everybody. What were some of your biggest takeaways? Wednesday, I talked about some of my biggest takeaways. And today I'm going to finish up my thoughts on the biggest takeaways from the retreat. Now, I'll tell you this, some of you might be in like a little bit of a fatigue. Oh, we did the retreat and we talked about it last week. We're talking about it this week. The reason that we keep going on this is so you don't lose that momentum. Okay, you don't lose that little, I'm at the retreat, rah, rah, yeah, go, go, go. And then a week later, you're back in the same routine. So we're going to keep doing it. I've heard the voicemails that Neil does, and he's talking about the retreat and some of the wins and things like that. We got to keep pushing on this. So I'm going to wrap up today my biggest takeaways from the retreat, and hopefully there's one or two things in there that maybe if you were at the retreat or watched virtually, you thought were really good. If you weren't, these are just great notes to have. So Wednesday, I told you that I kind of broke down the biggest takeaways for me into 5 categories: skills, market, service, attitude, and prospecting. Those were kind of the 5 main categories: skills, market, service, attitude, prospecting. Wednesday of last week, we spent a lot of time talking about the takeaways of skills, the market, service, things along those lines. So what I want to focus on today are some of the big takeaways in regards to mindset / attitude and prospecting. Okay. So.
Hey, is this Mario?
Yes, it is.
Mario, Neil Schwartz.
All right, there you go. Luckily, I have muting power. Like a superhero. All right, there you go. Okay, so let's get into this. So attitude and mindset. I want you to write down a word: fun. Fun, okay? One of the takeaways I got from the retreat, talking obviously from when Mike was talking, Ira, Ron, and then talking with some other people outside of the retreat, but on the phone, emails, masterminding with some other people from other companies and things like that. One of the key words that came up was the word fun. Okay. So you have got to create some fun in your day-to-day job here as a real estate agent. Because the truth is, and we talked about this a little bit last week, is that the most of our day is not fun. Okay. Most of our day evolves around getting rejected and looking at info sparks, which, as great as it is not fun. Okay. It's tracking numbers, which is not fun. Most of our day evolves around stuff that's not fun. The only time it's really fun is when you get a commission check. Then it's really fun. Okay. But you have to have fun with the job. Okay. So I wrote down here a couple thoughts in regards to having fun. Number one is, as Valerie Caro said in her blueprint, I've developed a mindset that prospecting's fun because I know what to say. Things are not fun when you don't know what you're doing in anything in life. Okay. If you don't know what you're doing, it's not fun. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know what to say. You have to know how to say it. I also wrote down here in terms of having fun is look at your job really as a real estate agent compared to other jobs and think about the fun that it can be. It's a mindset shift. So think about working in Irvine. Well, what is my job here today? Well, what I'm going to do, honey, okay, is I'm going to go down to the boardwalk and I'm going to go see a bunch of homes that are for sale in wonderful 85-degree weather. Not today, obviously, but 85-degree weather. And I'm doing that because I'm previewing property. Oh, what a great gig. I get to go down to the boardwalk of the beach and preview homes, and that's market research. I get to go talk to people from all walks of life. Okay? I could talk to somebody today. The beauty of my job is I might talk to someone who's just a local store owner, has had the store for 40 years, and I might talk to someone who's like royalty from another country who's looking to buy property here. Every day, I might talk to someone who's living paycheck to paycheck and is saving pennies to buy their first house to someone who's a multi-millionaire who's trying to buy a $50 million house in Bel Air. Every day we have that opportunity to talk to a wide variety of different people. Every day we have the ability in Southern California to learn something about a different culture, a different language. Anything along those lines. It's a fascinating world that we live in. You have got to create some level of fun with what you're doing. Play games with yourself throughout the day. Okay, have some fun with it. We talk about this. I wrote down here and having some fun. One of the easiest ways to have fun in our job that people take way too seriously is online media, social media. You make a video about social media, you make a video about your market, and most people are, okay, so what's going on in the real estate market is this, and you're not having any fun. Have some fun with it. Relax. Show a sense of humor. Laugh it off. You've got to create some fun in your business. Okay. I wrote down here with attitude, mindset, disruptions. Okay. Disruptors only disrupt the weak agents. I've said that for years. Disruptors only disrupt the weak agents. Well, COVID is a disruptor if you're a weak agent. Unless you got sick. If you legitimately got sick or a family member got sick, I get it. Most people, it was just, it disrupted you because you weren't prepared for it. You weren't prepared to be great. Well, commission, all these people are cutting commission. Yeah, that's disrupting a weak agent. Redfin, Zillow, all these companies disrupting weak agents. Disruptors only disrupt weak agents. What about all, this company's got this technology and this technology. Okay. You can go searching for all the technology you want. Mike Ferry says we're paying a fortune for technology we don't know how to use. It's just the truth. Well, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. I want to do that. You know how to do it? No. Are you going to do it? No. But they have it. Remember a couple of years ago when Compass came out with that sign, that glue that had lights on it? So at night you could see it and everyone's like, oh, they got this really cool sign. How many people are walking by the house at night? Oh, wow, I'm glad the sign is lit up. I'm walking here at night because you can't see it while you're driving. And then they said, oh, it cost $800 for that sign. And people said, no, thanks. We're spending all this money, all this time on certain technology. Doesn't matter. It's not a disruption. It's only disrupting weak agents. Focus on what you have to do. The attitude and the mindset of your job is that it doesn't matter if it's 2021, 1921, or the year 21. This is a talk to people business. The more people you talk to, when you accept the fact that even in all this great technology world, the more people you talk to, the more money you make, the better off you will be. Now, use technology to help and facilitate things, but boy, if you're using it to replace things, you have got to get out of that mindset. Okay. I made the joke all the time. The only way to make $20,000 a month with Facebook is to go work with Facebook. That's how you make $20,000 a month with Facebook. Okay. Shifting the mindset a little bit. Okay. I wrote down here on mindset, if you didn't write down the things at the end of day one, when Mike talked about the 7 things to keep in front of your mind, the 7 things to keep in front of your mind, this was huge. Okay. Number 1 was go after your dreams. Don't go after people. Because your dreams are not the same as everybody else's dreams. There's a lot of people that make more money than you that are not as happy as you. Now, there's probably people that do make more money that, live very well, but live your dreams. Don't go after people. Because what do you do when you catch them? Okay, I caught that person. Well, what was the experience? Nothing. Figure out your dreams. Don't go after people. Okay. The second thing here was learn to like yourself and the rest of a good life will follow. Learn to like yourself and the rest of a good life will follow. Some of you learning to like yourself is because you put yourself down so much. Some of you is more of you're doing extremely well, but you put yourself down because you're not that person. And so you hold yourself back. You hit a ceiling. You're making $250,000, $300,000 a year in an industry when the average person makes 35, you're making $250,000, $300,000 a year in a world, in a country where the average person makes 50, and you're sitting there banging on yourself because you're not this person who's making $1 million. Shoot for $1 million, but give yourself a little bit of credit for what you're doing. I have to do this all the time. So one of my biggest things as a coach is like trying to talk some of you off the ledge, and you're making like $400,000 a year. And you think that you're struggling, that you're not doing so well. And yeah, there's room for improvement, but my goodness, as Neil would say, you're failing at a really high level. So you have to learn to give yourself some credit, learn to like yourself, and the rest of a good life will follow. The third part of that was never lose your sense of wonder. Never lose your sense of wonder. This is vitally important with your mindset and your attitude because of what we talked about, how the job can be so boring, so repetitive, so blah with what we're doing that it almost can drain our sense of wonder, our sense of excitement, our sense of joy. You can't lose that because you have to be able to have that sense of wonder of what's possible, what you can still accomplish, what you can still do. And it might seem like ridiculous and it might seem outrageous, but you have to have that sense of wonder of what you can still accomplish in your life. I wrote down here, there are still so many exciting things in the world we haven't experienced yet. There's still so much. It's a giant world out there. And if you're not experiencing all of it, you're losing that sense of wonder of what's possible, what you can do. In 2021, you know how many ways you can get to New York City? You know how easy it is to fly across the Atlantic? To fly across the Pacific? You have so much access to go live this crazy, wonderful world. Don't lose that sense of wonder that there's so many exciting things you haven't experienced yet. Wrote down here next, you're capable of a lot more than you could possibly ever understand. That's what we talk about. We talked about this last week. The biggest problem we have is not that we set goals too high and don't hit them. The biggest problem we have is that we set goals too low and hit them. That's our biggest problem. We have no idea how much we can accomplish. Some of you have experienced that over the last 18 months. You've made more money than you've ever made. You've closed more deals than you've ever closed. You've learned more than you've ever learned. You didn't think any of these things were possible. You didn't think you could memorize a listing presentation script, and you memorized it. We're capable of so much more than we understand. Okay. 3 more of these. 5th thing was, there are no regrets in life, just lessons learned. No regrets, just lessons learned. You can't go back and fix it. You learn from it and move on. Okay? You learn from it and move on. The only limitations are we do that to ourselves. I can only sell to this marketplace. I can only sell to this price point. Biggest one we get in our industry is, or our company or our marketplace is, well, I can't sell a $4 million house. We don't have the marketing, the branding for that. And yet I see it all the time. Actually, I was this weekend, we were in Hollywood, and we were coming back home, and we were driving through Laurel Canyon. And when you're driving through Laurel Canyon, if you've never been there, there's a street that you turn left to get you to what they call the bird streets of LA. And the bird streets, because they're all named like Oriole, Robin, things like that. They call them the bird streets. multi-million dollar homes. They got a view, they're Hollywood Hills, got a view of the whole city. And I see a Century 21 sign there. And I'm sitting there going, it's self-imposed when you think that you work for a company that can't sell multi-million dollar homes, or can't sell, Century 21 can't sell in the Hollywood Hills. They are. You're not, for those of you that think that, because it's self-imposed. Because as a company, we do it all the time. And then the last point to that was 7 things to keep in the front of your mind. Life goes by in the blink of an eye. Live your life to the fullest. Goes fast. We were having dinner with some people, some of our friends from Arizona the other day, and we was like, well, how long has it been, since we've seen you? Maybe a year. We checked back, it had been over 2 years. Now it's because COVID prevented anyone from seeing each other for 18 months. But the fact is, we haven't seen them in 2 years. I remember, we knew exactly the last time we hung out, what the restaurant we went to, and all 2 years ago. You got to keep going. It's all about the attitude and mindset that you have to yourself. And what's amazing from the takeaways we had from the retreat is how much attitude and mindset has nothing to do with real estate. One of the great things about a Mike Ferry event is that you don't have to be a real estate agent to get a lot out of it. Your attitude and your mindset is a life thing. It's not just a real estate thing. But the reality is that as a real estate agent, if you don't have it the right thing up here, if your attitude and mindset is not right in terms of big goals, thinking bigger, what you can do, what you can't do in your life, you will not produce at a really high level. Mike said it at the retreat. If you can't figure out here, you'll never be able to figure out here. It starts with mindset. That's why when he goes over the 4 words, mindset, skills, action, activities, action, he does mindset first, because if you don't have the mindset, it doesn't matter. You have to go back and figure out every day of what's going on with the mindset. Okay. Very, very important. I wrote down here under mindset. This is when Ira was talking. He said, the mindset is the negative thoughts we say to ourselves. And I am the most guilty person of this, not by a lot, but you've heard me say this whenever I screw up something, and I apologize for the language, but this is what I say. I go, God damn it, Robert. I say that to myself all the time. And it's such a negative thing to say to myself. And I'm just mad at myself because I did something wrong. But it's a negative thing I'm telling myself. I got to stop doing that. So he was talking about, some people say that listings are tough to come by, but I say that those that follow the Mike Ferry system, the listings are out there for you to take them. So the question is mindset. Do you tell yourself, gosh, the listings are tough? Or do you say, hey, there's listings happening every day. I just got to go get one. Wrote down here, some people say there's no inventories for my buyers. And yet what Ira believes is that if you follow the system, you know how to go find listings for your buyers. So what is your mindset telling you? Gosh, there's no inventory for my buyers. Or is your mindset telling you, I got to go create inventory? And we have a whole list. We've given you previously 11 different ways on how to find a replacement property for your buyers. Are you utilizing that? Or are you just sitting there going, well, nothing new on the MLS today? That negative stuff we tell ourselves. But if you follow the system, it doesn't matter. I wrote down here in terms of mindset, if you follow the system, it doesn't matter what's going on in the market, you'll be fine. Who here in 2009, 10, 11, 12 had some of the best years of their career? Yeah, see some of you raising your hands, myself included. Had some of the best years of your career. Well, how is that possible when the market was tanked and there was expireds all over the place? How is that possible? Competition went away. That's number one. And then the other people that didn't go away were all sitting there going, I don't know what to do. It's hard. It's this and that. And the ones that went to work made a bunch of money. How many of you in the last 18 months had phenomenal 18 months? Number of you raising your hands again. Same thing. A lot of agents still don't even know what day it is, what year it is. They don't know what month it is. They don't know what the hell's going on. They don't know where they live. They don't know what's going on. And yet some of you in the last 18 months have been your biggest 18 months in the world. Well, how is that possible when you got COVID and you got elections and you got all this other stuff going on? How? Competition quits. People's mindset quits. And the agents that keep working and simply follow the system produce at an extremely high level. So I wrote down here, you have to keep the mindset that no matter what's going on, it's possible. You have to keep the mindset that no matter what's going on in the world, I will not lower my goals. One of the greatest things I ever heard from Mike Ferry is when he talked about in 2008, when the market crashed, he told his wife, hey, look, we're gonna have to make some cuts from the company, but one thing I promise you is that our lifestyle will not change. It's a mindset that it's possible no matter what's going on out there. You have to staff mindset. Why is that important? Because in some of your marketplaces, it's leveling off a little bit. See, some people have made more money. Mike said this when he was talking about mindset. Some people have made more money or closed more deals simply because of the market, not because of their skills. So if you're not having that mindset that it's possible no matter what's going on, it's possible that I can do great things in any marketplace. If things start slowing down a little bit in your marketplace, what are you going to do? You have to keep the mindset that it's possible no matter what's going on. Okay. I wrote down here regarding mindset, you have to accept the fact that crazy things happen all the time. Okay. You just have to accept the fact that crazy things happen all the time in our business, and you just have to move on. See, what Mike talked about was a great point, is that what crushes our mindset the fastest is that we overreact to basic things. Appraisal comes in low. Oh my gosh, and day's ruined. Can't find a replacement property for a buyer. Day's ruined. Didn't get my offer accepted. Day's ruined. They picked somebody else for the listing. Day's ruined. I got food all over my brand new suit for lunch. Day's ruined. We overreact to things. Life happens every day. We all have crazy, really interesting stories that happen. You can't overreact. This is all part of the gig. Sometimes you just have to laugh it off. Now, it might seem like a crazy person. Why are you laughing? This is such a bad situation. Because it's just crazy. This is just nuts. Okay. For those of you that have ever worked with that one particular buyer who 2 days before closed escrow decided to purchase a new car and their debt to income ratio is now out of whack. Or one of my all-time favorites, true story. Okay. Working with a buyer, they had to repull their credit before the closing and the credit score had dropped 60 points. Asked the buyer, they were delinquent on their credit cards. Why were you delinquent on your credit cards? Well, I didn't want to pay the credit cards because I was trying to save up the money for the closing costs. True story. True story. Credit score dropped. They didn't get the same rate. It's crazy. But you don't overreact. This is part, laugh it off and you say, okay, what are you going to do? You know, that's just part of the gig. You have to protect the mindset from the craziness that goes on in our job every day. Okay. Wrote down here, this was a key point. This talks about a little bit of the mindset. Mike said, a top producing agent's production is not controlled by the size of the market, nor the market conditions, nor the economy, nor the competition. So often we say, well, their production is because of the market, yet in markets with the highest closings, there are still agents doing nothing. That is such a key thing to remember for your mindset, because sometimes you might look in your market and say, well, in my market, there's only 50 closings a month, but in their market, there's 250. Of course, they're going to do more. Well, that's not true, because in that market that closes 250, there's still agents that do nothing. The city of Corona closes like 160 homes a month. And yet there's still agents in Corona that close 0. The city of Chino Hills closes like 25, and there's agents that close 6 or 7 deals a month. Maybe not specifically in Chino Hills, that surrounding area. It's not about that. It's not about the market they're in. Well, of course, Brianne closes that many deals. She's in Oklahoma. Okay, that's fine. So then why does Hal Swayze close that many deals in San Luis Obispo? Why does Neil Weichel close that many deals in Santa Clarita? It's not the market. It's not the market they're in. It's not the conditions. It's not the economy. It's ourselves. So I wrote down here from mindset, if you want to overcome the size of the market conditions, the economy, you have to surround yourself with agents that are also trying to think big. Now, we do the best we can here within this little group, but you have to do some of this outside as well. You have to find other agents and mastermind with them and talk with them and be accountable with them to think big, because you'll crush your mindset if you don't surround yourself with the right people. Crush your mindset. Okay. I wrote down here stuff on the schedule, but that's really more for a one-on-one thing, because I'm not being mean, but as a group, it's just not enough people that really stick to a schedule to talk a lot about that. Okay. So some of you will talk about that on a one-on-one basis. Okay, wrote down here, this is a biggie. This is a biggie on mindset. Understand that it's okay to walk away from a transaction. Okay to walk away from a transaction. We kill our mindset by the people we work with sometimes because we're desperate for a deal. You need to set standards on who you're going to work with. Have you ever had a client that just drained you mentally, emotionally? We all have. So walk away from it. You can tell right away. You're smart enough to know at the pre-qual, probably, like, I don't want to work with this person. This is going to be a nightmare. And certainly when you're at a listing or you're at a buyer consultation, you can tell right away, this is going to be a nightmare. This person is going to drain me mentally, physically, emotionally. This is going to be awful. Walk away from the transaction. You don't have to put up with nasty, hostile, mean people. You don't have to do that. You only have to do that if you're not willing to do the work to go find somebody new. I wrote down here, 18 million. 18 million. In LA, San Bernardino, Orange, Riverside County, the 4 counties that we predominantly have offices in, and we have some people in Ventura and some people in San Diego, but in those 4 counties, there's 18 million people. Don't choose to work with somebody that's draining, emotionally negative, nasty, when there's 18 million people that live in those counties. Now, I'm not telling you to go all over Southern California, but my point is that there's all kinds of people that are going to be looking to buy and sell in real estate. It's okay to walk away from a transaction. Set standards for yourself. Set standards for yourself. Okay. We already talked a little bit about don't sweat the small stuff. Internet's down, computers having issues. No big deal. It is what it is. Okay. This is probably one of the biggest things on mindset, and then we'll move on. Okay. This is one of the biggest things on mindset. And we've talked about similar things to this before. Top producers have a highly competitive mindset. They want to and expect to win every day. If you don't develop the mindset that this is a win and lose business, you're going to lose more than you win. It's just a fact. And real estate, sales in general, is the ultimate win and lose business because you get nothing for second place. In golf, you finish second place, you get a lot of money. In sports, okay, they just finished the NBA championship. The Bucks won the championship, they got a bonus. But the Suns, who lost the NBA championship, got a bonus for coming in second place. They got a bonus just for playing in the finals. Okay, they do that in sports all the time. A singing competition, the person who wins the singing competition gets like $1 million record deal. But the person who comes in second place gets a record deal. Might not be for $1 million. They might not have got all the confetti on stage, but they signed something. Sales? No, you get nothing for second place. So you have to develop a winning mentality, a highly competitive mentality that this is win or lose. It's not a, well, hey, I'm just trying to set the appointment. I'm just trying to go on the listing. No, I have to win a listing. Oh, I got my buyer. I'm going to go show them some property and write up some offers. No. You have to write up a winning offer because it's a competition to who's going to get the property. You have to win. You have to get your clients to understand that they need to win. You have to develop that winning mentality, that highly competitive mentality. Otherwise, why would they pick you if you don't develop that mentality? Because the clients also want to win. A seller is highly competitive. And if you don't believe me, the next time you go on a listing appointment, ask your seller, hey, would you like to get more money than what your neighbor got? And see if they go, that's not a big deal if we do. There's no way. They're going to say, you're damn right, I want more than my neighbor. Absolutely, I want more than my neighbor. Because they want the highest price house. They want the most money. Tell your buyer, hey, is it okay if we don't get the house accepted? Yeah, no, it's fine. Write up the offer. If we don't get it accepted, it's okay. I'll just keep renting. I'll keep living at my parents' house. No big deal. They're not going to say that. They're going to be like, damn right, I want it. They want to win. They have a winning mentality. You have to develop that winning mentality. Otherwise, you're just never going to make it. You're just never going to make it. Okay. Moving on here, last 10 minutes, we talked a lot about mindset. Let's finish up with some of my prospecting takeaways. Okay. Some of my prospecting takeaways. This might have been my favorite line from the whole retreat. This might have been my favorite line from the whole retreat. Mike was talking about magic formulas. What's the magic formula to build a business? Okay. And he said there's always new magic formulas coming out because we're suckers as salespeople, right? Oh, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try this. But here it is. Here was the line. Okay. This is probably my favorite line from the whole retreat. One of my biggest takeaways. I love it. He said, here's the magic formula. Call people you know, call people you don't know, and say something intelligent. That's it. That's the formula. Call people you know, call people you don't know, and say something intelligent. That's the magic formula. Don't overcomplicate things. Okay? Well, Zillow is selling me this. Well, how did they find you? They prospected me. That's interesting. So they're prospecting you, but you won't prospect. How did Redfin get you? They prospected me. Okay. How do I know that they do that? Because they prospect me. Redfin calls me all the time because we have some agents that close deals with Redfin and they're prospecting me going, hey, what other agents do you have that we can add to our system? I'm not out seeking them. They're calling me. All these magical formulas. Okay. Mike said, Mike reads all the time. He reads all these sales articles, sales books, things like this. And he wrote down, I've never read a sales article about any industry that doesn't start with, you have to prospect every day. So this is also prospecting, but part of a mindset that we have to get into. We have to prospect every day. And it's not just real. He told the story about when he got asked to I think it was Marriott, Marriott or Hilton. They hired him to talk to their sales staff. And Mike tells, well, I talk to people about real estate. And he said, yeah, but you tell people about prospecting every day, right? Mike says, yeah. She said, well, that's what I want them to do. They have to prospect every day to fill the calendar, to fill the suites, to fill the banquet halls, to fill the events. Every industry has to sell something and they prospect every day. You have to accept that it's not just a real estate thing. And I wrote down here, could you imagine if you really prospected 4 hours a day? Could you imagine what was possible if you really prospected 4 hours a day? Not just have it in your calendar to prospect 4 hours a day, but actually prospect 4 hours a day. Okay? Actually prospecting. Wrote down here under prospecting, we are essentially selling all day. So you have to accept the fact that this is a sales job. Some people have a hard time with that. Oh, I don't want to be a salesperson. I have a notion for you. If you don't want to sound like a salesperson, you shouldn't be in sales. I know that's tough for some of you to take. Well, I don't want to sound salesy, Robert. Okay. Shouldn't be in sales. You're a salesperson. And our job every day is selling. Setting an appointment is selling. Pre-qualifying is selling. Listing presentation. Discussing your suggested price. Discussing your commission. Price reduction. Accepting offers. Writing offers. Asking for referrals. Showing property. Recruiting. All of it is selling. You have to accept the fact that almost the entire day revolves around selling. But it's not just accepting that you're a salesperson, but it's treating every situation as a selling situation. Well, of course, the listing presentations, that's a selling situation. Right, but isn't asking for a price reduction a selling situation? You're selling them on the idea of why they need a price reduction, right? If you just walk in and go, hey, we need a price reduction, they're not going to give it to you. You have to sell them on it. Right, having a buyer write a strong offer. Don't a lot of buyers go, well, why don't we start lower? And you have to sell them on the idea of going $50,000 above the list price. It's a selling situation. You can't just ask them. Everything is a selling. Asking for referrals is a selling process. I'm selling you on the idea of giving me referrals. Hey, if by chance, if ever someday, one day, not today or tomorrow, but maybe one day down the road, if by chance you ever think about someone that might be maybe interested in buying or selling, possibly giving them my name and phone number? Good. It's a good script. You should write that. But you're selling. Accept the fact that you're a salesperson and sell every day.
Hey,
Okay?
Robert,
Yes.
don't you think that's begging?
No. No.
Just kidding.
No. It's begging when I go, please, Michael, please. I need a deal. Who do you know that might be looking to buy or sell? But if I simply just go, hey, Michael, what a great transaction. Thank you so much for being a valued client. By the way, who else do you know that might be looking to buy or sell? I'm just selling. I know Michael's having fun, but he's having fun. But some of you actually think that, well, I'm begging when I'm asking for referrals. Okay, that's fine. Then you won't get any. And that's okay. Somebody else will take your database. Somebody else will do it. Somebody else will call your database and ask for referrals. Hope it's one of ours. It is what it is. So you have to accept that. You have to accept that from the prospecting standpoint of things. Okay. So wrote down here a couple last points here, and then we'll wrap up for the day. Okay. We were going over the blueprints for success. Right? Going over the blueprints for success. And what I found of the blueprints, and those of you that are at the retreat got the copy of the blueprints. If you paid for a virtual ticket, you should have gotten it in the mail by now. But what I found going through these blueprints, the last couple points I want to make here is all these agents that were talking about their blueprint for success, some of the commonalities of it was every day they work on their skills. No matter what level of production they're at, no matter what market they're in, they work on their skills every day. And there was a great line that Ira said. He said, how come all the top producers have time to do skill practice every day and agents that do nothing somehow don't have time? All of them work on their skills every day, even if you've been in business 25, 30 years, because here was the quote. If you're not working on your skills, you're getting worse at your skills. It's something you have to work on all the time. So create a skill development program. Make a commitment to constantly work on your skills. Practice every day. Oh, Robert, I've said the just listed script 1,000,000 times in my career. Okay, great. Do it again. 1,000,001. Working on your skills. The second thing that was very popular is all of them have a very clear understanding of what their goals are. They have a very clear understanding of what their goals are. Their day goals, their monthly goals, their year goals, their 5-year goals, their 10-year goals. They have a very clear understanding of what their goals are, and they have their goals with them all the time. And the third thing that was the most common was that they all accept the fact that you have to master the morning schedule. You have to master the morning schedule. So what I wrote down here, something Ron Cronin told me years ago, if you can perfect 8 to 12, the afternoon will take care of itself. You have got to master the morning schedule. Those were the 3 most common takeaways from the blueprints that we got. So look, a lot of big things here. Okay. A lot of great takeaways from this retreat. We're right up on 1 o'clock here. We've spent the last week and today talking about it, and I've got more and more. Okay. We're not going to go over that anymore. Okay. But find a couple things, make sure you're working on them immediately. But remember, above all else, it starts here. It's the mindset, the attitude that you can do it, that it's possible, that no matter what's going on in the world, what's going on in the market, to have the best month, the best 6 months, the best year of your entire career if you just accept the mindset that it's possible. Because I'll leave you with a Neil Schwartz quote. That's a Henry Ford quote, but I'll give Neil credit. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Starts up here. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much for participating in all of this. I apparently only offended 7 people because that's how many people left from my start, which is like a pretty good. It's pretty good for me. Not too bad.
Good job, Robert.